So, Road to Vostok Public Demo 1 version 2 has been released, and there's a bunch of new things added, reworked, so let's talk about it. So, the featured updates, said even by the developer themselves, well, the gunplay has been fully remade, so it feels much more natural, more realistic, but also still fun to play. It's not as demolishing as Tarkov, as the developer said himself too. And the looting has been mainly focused on. Currently, these two, the AI is still in the works because there's lots of work to be done, but it still is being worked on. And as the developer said, the game is, well, fully on track and is not being delayed by any amount of time, at least currently. So, in the prior version of the public demo, the guns and so on were just static objects and they weren't as pleasing. There were too much issues with, as people also reported, too much camera shake and the actual recoil didn't seem fitting. So now there's an updated inspection UI, which means you will be able to look at your weapon a bit better. Inspected textures have been fully reworked and made to look much better. New sounds for the weapons. Actually, over 200 new audio files have been added to the game, so weapons sound much better and more, well, like weapon-like. They're not just plain weapon sounds that you can just get. They're actually fully made out of nice prepared recordings accurate to the weapons used, which is pretty exciting to see such amount of work being done by a single developer in such a short time. So many upgrades, the game is still on track, and so on. As I mentioned, camera shake has been reworked and greatly reduced even. Prior it was nauseating and overdramatic. Now it's much more realistic. And, well, dynamic weapon handling has been added based on how the weapon would react to your environment, working conditions, and so on. But it's still being worked on and everything is in the progress. But that still means the game is already starting to shape in the way as the developer wishes it to be, and overall it just plays much better. And as the developer also said, he's trying to find a balance between realistic and still, well, fun, so it's not as punishing, but later on in the game it's still gonna be pretty difficult. So next is the looting system. That has also been fully reworked and remodeled, so it looks more visually appealing and also overall just better. So the first big noticeable thing is the new modern multi-tile approach that allows you to overall just manage your loot in your inventory much better. You can rotate it so you can manage your items a bit better. So you basically leave no tile unused, which overall just looks much better as well, especially compared to the previous inventory menu. Then dynamic grid scaling has been added, which is also very nice, which means the game adjusts depending on how much inventory has been taken up, what kind of items you're using to store these items in, and so on. Then item hotkeys have been added, which means now you'll be able to put certain items as your hotkeys, which means grenades, medkits, just food consumables as health, maybe a map or GPS for your navigation, binoculars as just tools, maybe a multi-tool knife for crafting, we don't know just yet, but so on. You can already see the hotkeys at the bottom of the screen, what is going to be what, so you're going to be able to adjust that basically to your preferences or the items you find in the world. So that is pretty cool. So there's also new guns added to the game. Instead of the 5 or 4 weapons that we had in the version 1, we now have a bunch more carabines, pistols, assault rifles, and so on. And all of those and more will be customizable with their parts. You already can see all the attachments and everything, which is very, very nice that the dev is also adding content like that. There's such small things compared to the world of the game that is being still made, but he's doing so well with these models. They actually look very nice. They don't look butchered. They don't look like they've been rushed or even just added as a quick acid flip. They look handcrafted and very, very well made, which is, in my opinion, very, very nice for such a game. Now to mention, there's also a character preview visible and available, which means you will be able to manage your items a bit better, and you will be, well, able to see what you have equipped, including armor, clothing items, so you'll also have pockets and helmets, night vision goggles, and so on. There's going to be so many new things added, so this character preview window actually helps you a lot to manage everything that you can equip. And as well as the developer side note for all these added things for the inventory, hopefully there's going to be less bugs, which was personally a funny side note, and I know how it goes usually with hopes of having less bugs as to being a game developer myself. So some additional things that have been added to the game already. So there's going to be winter options for the maps. Currently you can switch in between them in the game's demo, but I think it's going to be more dynamic weather as the game progresses. But currently there's 3 options, which is just regular winter with snow, and then there's going to be a heavy blizzard with, of course, according sounds, same as just rain and rainstorm. So it already looks pretty nice. And the next thing is, now ladders are fully functional. You can climb up to tree houses, maybe roofs of buildings, and so on, which is personally pretty cool. There were ladders scattered around, but now you can actually use them. Variable optics have been added, which means now optics with bigger zooms can be adjusted to your preference, which is good for sniper players or people that just like camping in corners with sniper rifles more. The demo village has been actually also expanded. A few new buildings have been added, and some other things added in yards, like small details, maybe compost boxes, and so on. Indoor buildings now actually have ambient sound zones, which means entering certain area of the building will activate or trigger certain sounds that will echo through the building a bit more reverb. Maybe your footsteps are gonna sound different, gunshots, and so on, which also is a very nice thing that they added. Natural shaders have been added, which is also very nice, so the nature will look, well, more like nature and won't be as static. And also water systems have been added to the game, but they're currently disabled because the developer wishes to polish more of the swimming and fishing parts. So currently you can just walk in water and will make a noise when you enter it. Night vision has been added to the game as well, which means now at nighttime you won't be fully just going around with your flashlight. Now you can also use your night vision to see better in the game at nighttime, and it actually looks pretty cool. It has that actual real world night vision goggle kind of look, which is a bit grainy and so on. And yes, I know how it looks, I have used one. And finally, a few more things have been added to the demo, like more options and so on, but it's gonna take too long to list everything. So personally saying, the game is very nicely on track. It looks already pretty good, especially the fact that you can already have some firefights with AI and so on. And as the developer keeps saying, that the game is fully on track, not gonna be delayed, and overall it just is going very nicely because all the people that is supporting him on Patreon allows him to get contractors like for audio design, maybe help him out with 3D renders of weapons, animations, and so on. So that also helps the game move along, maybe even a little bit faster than anticipated and achieve these great goals. And with that being said, I think the game is shaping up to be a very nice single player extract shooter game that maybe some people even wanted, me included. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video as a small update to the oncoming game Road to Vostok. So, with that, I want to just say that support the developer on Patreon. I'll leave the link in the comments, not pinned, and also in the description. And yeah.